Hey friends, attorney Marie Paca here. So did you know that law is a helping profession? In fact, going way back to its roots, law has always been considered a helping and a healing profession. Just right along there with things like medicine and the clergy. It's one of the great three traditional healing practices. And that's really been on my mind lately, and it's my experience definitely, and I think it's one of the reasons why I ended up getting into law in the first place. So I am a helper at heart. And so I thought that maybe what I would start sharing is kind of how I'm able to help people and kind of what the experience is when folks come to my law firm for help in their desperate situation. So first, this week I had a situation where I've got a client in custody. He's going to be there for a long time, potentially serving a sentence after the case too. There's a risk of that. But so anyway, he's sitting in custody. His mom and he are very close. And, she comes to court and she cares deeply about him. And I can understand that as a mom, I care deeply about my children. And so the way this works is that, when you're in jail and you're in custody, you don't get, family time generally, right? That's not something that they give to folks. And so after this hearing, I made sure to kind of find a way that the two of them could connect even briefly at the end of that hearing, and that felt really good for them, but it felt good for me to be able to kind of help connect because people really need human connection, and sometimes that makes all the difference, and I just felt like it really needed to happen there, and so I helped with that, and I think it's important to make sure that as lawyers, we find ways to help people connect and heal kind of what's going on in their hearts. Well, second, moving on from that, I did thankfully get a situation where there was a very serious accusation about a violent criminal sexual assault from a young man toward a young lady. And we were able to get through a process of investigation. This is all pre-charge. But I remember when I took that call, there was so much fear and worry and anger, frankly, coming out of the family about kind of what was going on. And I was able to take that information and kind of take those feelings and walk through all of that with the client and with the family. And ultimately, he was completely cleared. And that felt really good, I think, for them, not only to have kind of that weight off the shoulders, but then also to have his name cleared, because that's one of the worst things to be accused of, is to be a rapist. And so we cleared the name and cleared the reputation and cleared criminal charging, juvenile, those kinds of charges. And so that was another way. Anyway, and so I'm just thinking about one more. I know there was one other case this week where it was alcohol related, and the client, while under the influence, it was a DWI, but then it was there was some behavior and some interactions with law enforcement that were, in my view, not who the client was. It was kind of an alcohol-fueled situation, and there was some behavior that was not pretty, I'll just put it that way. And so there was some charges that got attached to that piece of the interaction with law enforcement. And I know, of course, working with lots of folks, but working with this client in particular, that was just not who he normally was. And so he recognized it. I recognized it. We did a lot of work with him personally, and we call that mitigation, to tell, to get to the root of the problem and tell, others that is being taken care of. This isn't, who this person really is. And then have an outcome that reflects that. There's accountability, of course, but I'm not over penalizing. And so that felt really good to make a difference in that way. So how about you? How do you make a difference with the people you interact with, whether it's at work, your home, just out in the public at maybe your church, or other ways that you interact with others? How are you a helper? And then I'd love to ask for your help. So one of the things I really struggle with is getting so kind of involved in work lately that, and just, I'm not sure how to put this, but just kind of getting too focused on things and not realizing that I don't do this alone. There are so many people that support me, and staff and other attorneys and family and loved ones that help me be who I am today and help support me in my work and support me in kind of whatever I'm doing in my life. And so I just need to be able to take the time to thank them and realize it's, I'm not on an island. I'm not doing all of this myself, and to really pay respect to that. And so I'm trying to find ways to slow down and recognize that, and then finding good ways to say thank you. So I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I would love to know, like, how do you do that? How is the best way that you found to say thank you to other people? Let me know in the comments below. Again, my name is Marie Paca. I'm an attorney, and you can reach me at 612-339-5844 or find me at minnesotatriallaw.com. That's mntriallaw.com.